Hello, I'm Brett with WIPDeveloper.com. While trying to come up with a way to get a bunch of objects to a Lightning Web component from Salesforce, I stumbled across this getListUi adapter for the wire adapter. It's currently in beta, but it looks promising if it becomes GA at some point. So we're going to take a look at it real quick. I'm going to start with what looks like our value list from last time. And I'm going to get rid of everything from the class. In the HTML, I'll get rid of the buttons. I'm also going to, instead of iterating over values, I'm going to iterate over accounts. And each one is going to be called an account. And we're going to track the account ID. So for the template, what I'm changing is instead of values, it's account. Instead of a value, instead of values, it's accounts. Instead of a value, it's account. Instead of the key being value, it's going to be account.id. And then I'm going to display the ID from the account. And I want to display something else, but we don't know what that is yet. In the JavaScript down here, you can see I've already imported the wire and the track. So I have those available, and I won't be making the mistake of forgetting those again. And I want to track an accounts declaration. And I also will be using wire. Well, before we get there, we need to import a couple things. We're going to import the getListUi. And that's from Lightning UI List API. And then we need to import the account object from the Salesforce schema. With those imported, now we can finish up the wire service that I was starting early. And the method it will call is the getListUi. And then we pass in our options. So for our first option, we're gonna pass in the object API name. And that's going to be our account object that we imported earlier. And we need a list. We're going to need a list API name. So I have a list view created in my Salesforce instance called, that API name is all accounts. So we will use that one. And I want to handle this with a method. And for right now, we know it's going to return an error or the data. And I just want to log both of those right now. Of course, if we did have an error, we would want to do something with it. We're not going to handle it besides ignoring it. Looks like we did not get it to push. Let's save it again. Forgot the N or missed it. Take your pick. Once that's saved, refresh the page. Nothing should happen. But if we look in the dev console, we'll see we have, well, it's a proxy object. That's not very fun. Let's okay, let's add a log function. I'm going to use the REST params to collect this stuff. And then I'm going to console log it here. Except I'm going to use the JSON API to parse a stringified version of the stuff. So now I can call this this.log with the error and the data, and it'll be stringified and sent to the console. And I don't have to do that every time I want to lock something. This is the one. You can see the second object, which would have been the data object, has an info and a records, and we're going to look in the records for the records. So we have at least 50 records here, and now we can use that. So if there's data, we want to set the accounts on our object from the data.records.records. We can refresh that. You can see we have quite a bit of objects here, but we would like to show the name of the account. So let's go into look at the records and see what it looks like. It has a fields property, and the fields property has a name, so we would have to do fields.name.value to get the actual value. So in here, on our template, we'll just do fields.name.value. Refresh the page once that saves. There we have names, but we only have 50 accounts showing. What if we wanted to show more than that? Looking through the documentation for this getListUi call, you can see that it uses the REST parameters tables. So we can pass in parameters from this REST request. So we can do page size, add that in here. I'm going to increase it to 2000, and then I want to order by, and that was sort by. And I'm going to sort by the name. Now when we refresh the page, we should have quite a few more. Not quite 2000 because I've only created 400 test records, but there they are. So that's a quick look at using the getListUi wire adapter. It's currently in beta. Hopefully it becomes something we can use in the future. Otherwise we would have to write a custom Apex class to get the accounts. That's it for now. Remember to sign up for the weekly stand-up, and you can get updated with any new information we have on WIPdeveloper.com.